Good day, everyone. Servant here. Before we get into the episode, I just want to tell you where a lot of the thoughts and ideas for this episode came from. When I talk about the Dark Forest, I'm talking about the beginning scenes of Dante's Inferno before his descent into hell. I also talk about the child from Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And also, everything will have a philosophical and a religious tie. So I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do, please like and subscribe, and let's get into the episode. Here in the Servant Library, we don't wander through life guessing. We use an op order of the soul: situation, mission, execution, sustainment, command, and signal. Most people fail before they ever begin because they skip the first step. This episode is about situation, not motivation, not solution, orientation, because you don't fix what you don't understand. Okay, every mission starts the same way. Before you move, before you act, you assess the situation. Skip that, and you don't move any faster. You just get lost faster. When you feel you're in chaos, you're not broken, you're not weak, you're in the dark forest. Not the trauma, it's the aftermath of the trauma, the place where the world you trusted stopped making sense. The dark forest is what happens when the map you were given no longer works. Okay, look around. Inflation, violence, cultural wars, lies. Everyone is shouting direction. Everyone is selling certainty. And people start calling chaos normal. But chaos doesn't become safe just because you live in it long enough. Now, here is the internal chaos. But the forest doesn't just exist out there, it grows inside you. Fear, PTSD, anxiety, numbness, disconnect, that all lives in your mind. That's all the inner chaos of your mind. Your body remembers what your mouth won't say. Your nervous system keeps fighting a war your mind says is over. The forest isn't dangerous because it's dark. It's dangerous because panic makes people run. Okay, when you start to feel that chaos and that panic starts to come in, your first command in the dark forest: stop. Stillness isn't weakness here, it's survival. Speed kills judgment. Noise kills discernment. Reaction kills wisdom. Here's something most people never learn: being alone is not the same as being lonely. Loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of presence. Most children aren't afraid to be alone, not because they're naive, but because their inner world isn't hostile. They can sit, they can play, they can talk inwardly. They are with, not collapsed inward. When Zarathustra speaks of a child, he's not talking about fantasy. He's talking about a mind that can create, affirm, and remain present after suffering. A mind that doesn't panic in silence. Some people call this an imaginary friend. That's the wrong word. Imagination escapes reality. Presence inhabits it. The child mind doesn't invite comfort, it remains in reality, even when physically alone. For a Christian, that presence has a name: Christ, not a voice giving commands, not a fantasy concept, but a reality anchor, conscious, orientated, withness. So when the world goes quiet, the soul doesn't collapse inward. And this is how people survive in the forest. Not by noise, not by distractions, not by running, but by being present. When you are not mentally alone, stillness is no longer a threat, and the forest loses its power to consume you. This is where leadership begins. Mapping your area of operation. You don't need to be perfect in mapping your area of operation. You just have to be honest with yourself. You need to know where you really are and what really is going on. This isn't about escape, it's about orientating yourself in the dark forest. Next episode, we'll talk about execution because once you know the terrain, you can choose where you step next.